Welcome to Silent Secrets. In today's video, we're tackling a question that has haunted men for centuries. Why does one woman stand firm and protect the bond while another tears everything apart? It's not luck. It's not destiny. It's not just bad timing. The truth lies in the choices she makes every single day. Some women respect the relationship even when temptation whispers in their ear. Others treat temptation as an open invitation to betray. And here's the cruel reality. Most men can't tell the difference until the damage is already done. They wake up too late, wondering how the signs were missed. But you don't have to live blind. There are 7 clear signs that separate a woman who stays loyal from a woman who strays. Once you understand these signs, the fog clears. You'll finally see who's genuinely by your side and who's quietly sharpening the knife behind your back. So let's dive into the very first sign, a truth most men never expect. Sign number 1, emotional responsibility is where the cracks show first. A woman's loyalty doesn't start with her actions. It starts with her accountability. Think about this. Every relationship faces problems, fights, silences, disappointments, but watch carefully how she handles them. A disloyal woman almost never accepts her role in the conflict. Every issue somehow shifts back to you. If she's bored, it's because you didn't give her enough excitement. If she feels ignored, it's because you didn't pay enough attention. If she's restless, it's your fault for being too predictable. And many men, out of love, fear, or confusion, carry this weight. They bend over backwards, working harder, giving more, apologizing for things they didn't even do. They believe sacrifice will save the bond. But here's the trap. The more you take the blame, the less she respects you. Now contrast that with a loyal woman. She experiences the same frustrations, but her response is entirely different. She doesn't deflect responsibility. She owns her part. Instead of saying, "This is all your fault," she says, "This is bothering me, and here's why." Instead of letting resentment fester in silence, she communicates. Instead of shifting blame, she reflects inward. The difference may seem small, but it's massive. One creates clarity. The other creates chaos. And here's why this matters. A man who constantly shoulders blame loses trust in himself. Over time, his confidence erodes. He second-guesses his instincts. He feels like no matter what he does, he's already in the wrong. That erosion kills not just his self-respect, but also the relationship. So ask yourself, when she's called out, does she deflect or does she reflect? Does she twist the story or does she face herself honestly? Emotional responsibility is the root of loyalty. A woman who refuses to take ownership has already checked out. You just haven't noticed yet. Sign number 2. Closeness and discomfort, disloyalty doesn't happen in one big explosion. It creeps in slowly, through distance. Here's how it begins. She grows colder in conversations. She avoids eye contact. She's busy but can't explain why. She spends hours on her phone but goes silent with you. She laughs freely with friends, yet acts bored in your presence. Her body may be near, but her heart has wandered, and most men sense it. Deep down, they feel the chill. But instead of facing it, they rationalize. She's stressed. She's just tired. She'll come around. But the truth? That slow withdrawal is one of the loudest signs of disloyalty. Now, contrast that with a loyal woman. When things feel off, she doesn't vanish. She doesn't disappear into silence. She leans in. She says, "Something feels wrong. Let's talk about it." Her courage keeps intimacy alive even when it's uncomfortable. She'd rather face temporary pain than allow distance to grow into destruction. The difference is night and day. One avoids the storm. The other faces it. A man who ignores emotional distance is setting himself up for betrayal. Because by the time she's fully gone, you'll realize she didn't leave overnight. She left piece by piece, while you were busy making excuses. So ask yourself, when she feels unhappy, does she shrink away like a ghost? Or does she stay at the table and work it out? That choice tells you if she's loyal or if she's already halfway gone. Sign number 3, the way she tests you, every woman tests. That's reality. It's not inherently bad. Testing comes from vulnerability, from the need to feel secure. But not all tests are the same. A disloyal woman tests to manipulate. She thrives on chaos. She throws traps at you, complimenting another man in front of you, comparing you to her ex, mocking your weaknesses just to see how you react. And here's the trick. No matter what you do, you lose. If you blow up, she calls you insecure. If you stay silent, she calls you weak. Either way, respect erodes. The test was never about closeness. It was about power. Now a loyal woman also tests, but her tests come from love. She might ask, "Do you still find me attractive? Do you still want to spend time with me like we used to?" Her goal isn't to control, but to reconnect. Her tests invite closeness, not conflict. The danger men face is accepting manipulative tests as normal. Because once you allow comparisons, mockery, and emotional games, you start losing yourself. You become smaller, quieter, less confident. And soon, you don't even recognize the man in the mirror. Remember this, a woman who respects you will challenge you to grow, but never in a way that humiliates you. A woman who plans to betray will test you until you break. So ask, are her tests rooted in insecurity or in manipulation? Is she seeking reassurance or seeking chaos? The answer reveals everything. Sign number 4, how she talks about her past. A disloyal woman's past is always a mystery. Ask about an ex and you'll hear vague answers. It was complicated. That's in the past. It doesn't matter. But here's the reality. It always matters. Not because you want to hold her history against her, but because patterns repeat. If she's never owned her mistakes, she's likely to repeat them. With you. A loyal woman, however, doesn't need to hide her scars. She'll admit where she went wrong, what she learned, and how she's grown. She doesn't sanitize her past, because she knows real growth requires honesty, and that honesty builds trust. You can see her journey from immaturity to maturity. You can see the lessons she's actually absorbed. Now imagine the opposite. You find out months later that an old friend was actually an ex she never cut off, or that every breakup in her history ended with her blaming the man. That's not coincidence. That's a cycle. The question isn't just what happened before me. It's what did she learn from it? Because a woman who hasn't processed her past doesn't rewrite her story. She simply replays it, with you as the next character. Sign number 5, her relationship with flirting. For some women, flirting is harmless. For others, it's a lifestyle. A disloyal woman treats flirting like oxygen. It's her social currency. She flirts at work, online, in public. She thrives on attention, not because she needs connection, but because she needs validation. And here's the painful truth. Being in a relationship doesn't stop her. Sometimes it makes her flirt even more, because she can show the world she's desirable while still having a partner at home. A loyal woman sees it differently. She knows that even small gestures, an extra laugh, a prolonged stare, a playful comment, carry weight. She understands that attention aimed outward cracks the bond inside, so she chooses respect. Now picture this. You're standing beside her and she's leaning in close to another man, giggling. You feel humiliated. You bring it up and she brushes it off. Relax. I'm just being friendly. That's not friendly. That's disrespect. And if you ignore it, it becomes the new standard. Men often confuse charisma with loyalty. But the line between social and available is razor thin. A loyal woman will never make you question where her devotion lies. A disloyal one will keep you guessing until the day she doesn't have to anymore. Sign number 6, her view of freedom. Disloyal women love waving the freedom flag. They'll say, I don't owe anyone an explanation. I can do whatever I want. On the surface, it sounds empowering, but in reality, it's a shield, a way to justify reckless behavior. Disappearing for hours, messaging men online, posting provocative photos, and when you question it, suddenly you're controlling or jealous. A loyal woman values freedom too, but she pairs it with responsibility. She knows commitment isn't a prison. It's a choice. Her independence doesn't trample respect. She values space without creating suspicion. Here's the trap men fall into. Being made to feel guilty for asking for respect. You're not trying to own her. You're drawing boundaries. But if she twists that into weakness, you start doubting yourself. You shrink while she expands her chaos. True freedom builds connection. Fake freedom tears it down. So listen carefully. When she talks about independence, is it mature or manipulative? That answer separates women who are building with you from women who are dismantling you. Sign number 7. Conflict and compliments. Here's where the mask slips. A disloyal woman cannot handle conflict. When tension rises, she doesn't engage. She disappears. She shuts down, goes silent, punishes with withdrawal. That's not peace. That's avoidance. And when it comes to compliments, she's addicted. Every like, every DM, every glance fuels her ego. If you don't constantly validate her, she resents you. Her worth is tied to male attention, and that hunger never stops. It only grows. A loyal woman? Completely different. She may dislike conflict, but she faces it. She'll argue, cry, express her frustration, but she stays at the table. And when it comes to compliments, she appreciates them, but she doesn't depend on them. Her confidence is internal, not outsourced. Think about the damage when both conflict and validation become weapons. Silence becomes punishment. Attention from strangers becomes fuel. Slowly, the man loses himself. He questions his value, his role, even his sanity. That erosion doesn't happen overnight. It happens drip by drip, through avoidance and constant external validation. So pay attention to these two areas. They reveal her true loyalty louder than her words ever could. The man's strategy, recognizing the signs, is only half the battle. Knowledge without action is useless. Too many men see the red flags but stay silent. They hope she'll change. They believe love alone will fix it. But silence doesn't protect you. It weakens you. Here's your strategy. Set boundaries early. If she dodges responsibility or flirts for attention, call it out. Boundaries are self-respect, not control. Focus on patterns, not promises. Anyone can say, "I'll be loyal." Watch how she behaves under pressure. Patterns reveal the truth. Stop carrying the relationship alone. If you're the only one fighting, you're not in a partnership. You're in captivity. Accept what you can't control. You can't force loyalty. You can only protect your dignity by recognizing when it's absent. Conclusion. The final wake-up call. The difference between a woman who stays and a woman who strays isn't hidden. It's right in front of you. It's written in how she handles responsibility, in how she responds to discomfort, in how she tests you, in how she speaks about her past, in how she flirts, in how she defines freedom, and in how she reacts to conflict and compliments. None of these are small details. They're the foundation of either loyalty or betrayal. The danger isn't that the signs don't exist. The danger is that men refuse to see them until it's too late. Here's the truth. You can't stop a woman from making her choice, but you can sharpen your vision. You can set stronger boundaries. You can refuse to carry a relationship built on manipulation. That's not control. That's self-respect. So I'll ask you, are you going to ignore what you've learned? Or are you going to use it as armor? If this opened your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a man who needs to wake up before it's too late. Smash the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment saying, "Now I see clearly." That's how I'll know you're part of the brotherhood of men who refuse to walk blind. And always remember, you can't control who she chooses to be, but you can control how you respond. That awareness, that calm, unshakable self-respect, is the true freedom of a man.